Sort of like a page and a half of A4 is fine. 1 sentence is not enough.
Not enough.
10 pages is way, way too much. And no laxatives, and it has to be legal. If it involves a crime, like if you rob a bank, for example.
That's not a confession.
It's not getting on. Also, anything that wastes police time is also never going to get on. Okay?
No.
Socially irresponsible, we don't do that kind of thing. Anyway, there's a lot of Spanish involved in this one, by the way,
here
Matt,
we go.
So you'll need to chip in if I get it hopelessly wrong. It comes from Fifi. Thank you, Fifi. Father Simon, Sister Susie, Brother Matthew from another gutter. After 34 years, I thought it was time to seek your forgiveness for an incident which took place in the mid-80s. When I was 19, it will also give Simon the perfect excuse to exhibit his Spanish accent. Well, fortunately, that's not very good, but Matt's is perfect because he is fluid in Spanish. Isn't that right, Matt?
I am.
Answer in Spanish.
You should have said
C.
C.
Oh, right, sorry.
Amazing. He might speak Spanish, but he's a bit slow.
Okay, a bit slow.
Not very quick-witted.
Lentamente.
Myself and my boyfriend of that... It's too late now. Myself and my boyfriend of that time had been invited by my parents to join them for a week's holiday in Mallorca, together with my eldest sister, her husband, and their 2 young daughters. When we arrived at our hotel, the sun was shining, the resort looked beautiful, and the pool looked inviting. The first 2 days were glorious. We spent the time lounging by the pool. Then in the evening, after dinner at the hotel, we would walk into town for a local drink. Everyone said in Spanish, "It's really glorious."
I mean, hace mucho sol.
There you go. Unfortunately, on day 3, we awoke to a scene similar to that from The Perfect Storm. The sky was black, the rain was horizontal, the pool water was brown, and the palm trees around the pool were bent double in gale force winds. Can I just say at this point, in The Perfect Storm, the movie, there's no swimming pool.
No, that's true.
Wow.
Worse than this, when I turned on the taps at the bathroom, in the bathroom sink, no water appeared. I optimistically tried the bath taps too, but alas, to no avail. I walked round to my parents' room, which was next door, and inquired whether they had any water, and the answer was no. This was obviously the case for the whole hotel, as when we made our way downstairs, the reception area was rammed with unhappy holidaymakers, all being given the same answer by the exasperated staff. Nostromo no tenemos agua.
Nosotros no tenemos agua.
We have no water.
Agua.
Also, they said, "Stop complaining, you miserable British." How would you say that?
Oh, come
How
on.
would that go?
I can't remember what complain is. Oh, yeah. Deja de quejarse.
There you go. That's what they were saying everywhere. Several guests were complaining of rain leaking through their windows. In fact, my sister and her family, whose room was on the top floor, had to be relocated to another room after they found water dripping through the ceiling onto their daughter's cot. Apparently, the storm had disrupted the water supply to the hotel resort, and it soon became apparent that the toilets were also affected as a foul-smelling toilet fog slowly became apparent. Yes.
No.
Spread throughout the hotel. The wind and rain were giving the hotel a right battering, so our glum party went off to find the hotel lounge, along with 400 other miserable-looking guests, and we found an area to play cards and entertain the 2 younger members of our party. But we were grateful that we were at least dry.
Yes.
That didn't last long. After several mind-numbing hours of Snap and Chase the Ace, the rain subsided, so my dad announced that we should venture out and find somewhere to have dinner. "I'll just go up to the room and change my shoes," declared my mum. So the rest of us stood in the main entrance and waited. And waited. And waited. After about 20 minutes, my dad, not known for his patience, said to me, "What on earth is your mother doing up there?" I should explain at this point, she has a history of being somewhat accident-prone. So bearing that in mind, I quickly made my way up the stairs to the second floor, which was underwater. As I approached my parents' room, the door was wide open and I could see a flurry of activity inside. There were 3 flustered-looking chambermaids armed with mops and towels, one of whom scurried past me shrieking in Spanish, where the only words I recognized were, "Señora, agua, agua."
Which is it? Madam, water.
There you go, that's right.
Very good.
Excellent.
Then as I got to the doorway, my mother appeared to float towards me on the bedroom rug. There she goes. And slowly came to hover in front of me. "What's going on?" I inquired in bewilderment. And she says, Well, apparently someone somewhere left their bath taps on, according to my mum, and their bath has filled up, and when the water came back on, it's overflowed into our room and then out into the corridor. It took about 5 seconds for the penny to drop, and I realised with horror that myself and my boyfriend were in fact the someone on the corridor who'd left their taps on that morning, but I obviously hadn't turned them back off again or noticed that the plug was in the plug hole.
No.
Probably a feng shui thing, because if you leave the plug in the hole, all the chi can't flow away.
Right. Sorry.
Remember, you need to remember
I let that slip,
You need
didn't
to
I?
make that-
Sorry.
Oh dear, I offered, and then added, will you be coming down soon? Mum muttered something about wet shoes, and she said, I don't think it was my fault. Anyway, unsure what to say, I slipped away back downstairs where the rest of the family were waiting. I said, I have good news and bad news. My father said, go on. Well, the good news is that Mum should be down in a few moments. The bad news is your room and the floor has been flooded. A mixture of expletives fell from my dad's mouth, followed by, what's your mother done now? Apparently water overflowed, I said, from a bath in a room near to ours, but not ours, not next door. My boyfriend shot a surprised look in my direction. I shot him one back that said, don't say a word. The walk into town was a quiet one. My dad refused to speak to my mum, as if holding her responsible. She often had mishaps like this, so we walked behind, subduing our sniggers. Maybe the water had flowed under our room, we said, and into theirs. Anyway, the thing is, Father Simon, we let someone else take the blame, and that someone happened to be my mother. I therefore seek forgiveness from my lovely mum and my dearly departed dad, plus yourselves for my mum's soggy shoes and unintentionally ruining their holiday. And all you had to do was actually just own up and say, it was you, Fifi.
Fifi.
Anyway, let's check in with Sister Susie, who's in charge.
Do you know, it did make me laugh. It was very, very good. However, it's a bit mean to your mum, and I just think, just you know, admit it. Come clean. You can't do that and then not say, oh, by the way, I spoil all your
This
stuff.
is the first time Fifi has admitted that it was
Yeah. How many years? She's lived with that with her family. No, I can't forgive you, Fifi, I'm afraid.
brother from another gutter.
So, I mean, can we really be sure that it was Fifi's fault? I mean, it could have been that the mum also, because of not having anywhere to put the chi, that she left the plug hole out as well. Could have been anyone on that floor.
The chi,
who was, where am I going to put my chi? It's, oh, well, we're going to need to take the plug out, obviously. So, for that reason, really, I choose to forgive.